All right, I want to move on to this one, Charlie. The Washington Post reporting that President Biden privately regrets dropping out of the 2024 presidential race. I know. It says, quote, Biden and some of his aides still believe he should have stayed in the race despite the rocky debate performance, that's been kind, and low poll numbers that prompted Democrats to pressure him to drop out. Biden and these aides have told people in recent days that he could have defeated Trump. That's according to people familiar with these comments. Now, Charlie, do you think Joe Biden could have beaten Donald Trump?
No, I do not think that he could have beaten.
That answers it all.
And in fact, he did not, because, of course, Donald Trump beat him in one debate without a single vote needing to be cast. Look, the White House can be a pretty tall ivory tower, and I think that the level of delusion inside the walls of the White House can be pretty blinding and particularly for people who are sort of, I think, probably trying to look back at all of the regrets that they have. The other thing that you're hearing also in this article, an exhaustively reported article, is that there's a sort of Kamala Harris faction in the White House, and they're bitter at Joe Biden for not getting out of the race sooner. And they are making the argument that she would have won if she had had more time to run. And I don't think that that's true either. I think that if she had had more time, what we have seen throughout her entire political career is the more people get to know her, the less they tend to like her in terms of voters. And I think that there was this may have been the best outcome they could have dreamed of for Democrats. The real problem was that they, instead of having an open primary where they let the best Democrat percolate to the top, and that could have been RFK, that could have been any number of Democrats who were interested in running, they chose to rig the contest, and they wound up with the two worst people that they could run, and Donald Trump beat them both soundly.
He certainly did. I think if Kamala Harris had a longer run at it, she would have just dug a deeper hole. I think that's the bottom line there. California Governor Gavin Newsom, God bless him, seems to be stirring the pot on Republicans' work visa standoff. He said, quote, good to see Trump embrace Elon's position. Hard-working immigrants should continue to be part of our great nation. Charlie, he's actually voicing support for one of Trump's policies, but is he doing this just to sow division among Republicans? Is that what this is?
I think without a doubt, Ashley. I think that this is another one of these mind games, and people like Gavin Newsom, who have a terrible record, they love to play these mind games. They put a lot of effort into playing mind games, and they're just trying to play mind games here. I think that when you step back, and this whole huge debate, larger debate about the H-1B visas is a fascinating debate, and it is entirely happening on the Republican side of things. Democrats have no voice whatsoever in this, and I think it's a great debate to be having, and I think it says everything you need to know about where we are in politics today, that Democrats can't even participate in the argument. The argument is entirely outside of their purview. All they can say is, what do you mean? We opened the border and let unknown millions of low-skill illegals into the country, and we don't even know who they are. And that's not part of this debate at all.
Charlie Hurt, as always, fascinating stuff. Thank you, sir, for being with us this morning.
Happy New Year.
Great to see you, Charlie. Yeah, Happy New Year to you as well.